Are the Lions your favorite to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC?
Philly.
Still Philly.
Still Philly, man. And I get it. I understand what we just watched with Detroit last night. And on that Detroit point, last night Aaron Glenn said, I'm going to make y'all show me who y'all think Sam Darnold is. That's all that game plan was about. And we going to make the quarterback beat us. We going to blitz his ass. We going to play man. Who in the world plays man-to-man on Justin Jefferson?
Yeah.
Last night they did, because you hear me say this all the time. You got to make a decision on defense. Are we going to cut the head off the snake, or are we going to try to play safe and then condense the field? Aaron Glenn said, I'm going to cut the head off the snake and see if he can execute. Bro, we just looked at red zone opportunities at 21 to 28 points for the Minnesota Vikings that they couldn't execute. I'm not sure if Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown not going to execute those. So I'm not ready to say Detroit is clearly the favorite yet, but what I will say is this. If they get into these situations where they play you late into a game, they will absolutely take over the game.
Yeah.
So you got to get going early.
Let me talk my shit again.
The Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your way more hostile and humble host, Cassius Cliff. Before we get into breaking down the exhibition game, preseason game of Week 18 against the shitty New York Giants, please like, share, subscribe, as well as comment. It goes a long way. Thank you in advance. If you want to challenge my thoughts on these games, definitely comment. If you want to definitely share with other Eagles fans as well as Eagles haters, and subscribe to your boy, especially if you rock them. Like the videos. But with that being said, wrapping up the 2024-2025 season, we had a great one. It's been a hell of a ride, especially given the fact with the injuries, guys being in and out of the lineup, having two games in which we could have definitely won, except for, uncharacteristic drops by Saquon and Devontae Smith, and a blowout where we didn't have our main guys against the, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 14-3, I know a lot of people didn't expect that. I was definitely one of the few. I thought either 14-3, if not 13-4, and here we are, number 2 seed, wrapped up the division as well as the number 2 seed going into the playoffs. And I think as a fan, especially as a guy that does content on the Eagles, all I can be is proud of this team. I mean, we definitely want to begin at some adversity with the injuries, going against the toughest division in all of football, putting foot to their ass and sweeping all of them, sweeping the Giants, sweeping the Cowboys, narrowly sweeping the Commanders with our backup and Kenny Pickett. I mean, I don't really have anything to complain about except for, guys being in and out of the lineup. I would have wished they would have been there all season, because I firmly believe if guys weren't hurt, and obviously this is the NFL, everybody gets hurt, but if we had AJ throughout the entirety of the season, I firmly believe we'd be at least 15-2, if not 16-1, because we're that good. With AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts in the same lineup, on the same team, we've lost one game this season with these guys on the field together. So, I mean, not only am I appreciative of this season, I'm more than confident going into this playoff run, because when we have A.J. Brown on this team in the playoffs, we make noise. And I promise you, after we talk about these Giants, we're going to have a lot of fun talking about these Green Bay Packers. But let's handle that first and foremost, because despite it still being an exhibition game, a preseason game in Week 18, let's look at the guys that stepped up in the game in which that didn't matter, ultimately. The guy that I actually expected to have a little more impact and, unfortunately did not. Will Shipley, this is probably his biggest play of the game. And for a guy that plays running back, where we had a total of 51 yards, and he had, a decent amount of carries. I believe like 10 carries, had under 30 yards. I mean, that's not really impressive at all. He had more receiving yards and rushing yards. And ultimately, we didn't need him to win this game. And really, we didn't need to win the game at all. And ultimately, what I really wanted to see, aside from a guy like Shipley, and a guy that I should have, I don't know. I know why I overlooked him, because I'm already looking at the playoffs and really who we could have been facing. A guy like Dallas Goedert, who's been in and out of the lineup, who is definitely one of the better tight ends in all of football, coming back into the lineup after being on IR and getting, definitely a healthy dose of opportunity and targets early on in this game. 4 catches for 55 yards. It may not be big numbers, but for a guy that's been in and out of the lineup, for him to still have those hands and be able to take those hits and get up and not be hurt, I think is huge, because not only is he another option for Jalen, he's a better blocker than Calcaterra. We know Calcaterra has been stepping up and has definitely deserved his flowers, but we know what we got in Dallas Goedert, and that is the best tight end we have on the roster in the lineup. We want to see him out there, and for him to have some kind of production when he was out there with Tanner McKee, I think it definitely bodes well for this playoff push. but a guy that we've been banging the table for. We gave him a 3rd-round pick for, and we knew he was going to be the main receiver, the main target out there with Tanner McKee. Jahan, boy, where you been? I mean, 7 catches for 94 yards. I mean, bro, obviously we don't need a tried and true receiver number 3 in order for us to go 14-3 on the season. But ultimately, we traded for him for a reason. And even on this 3rd down conversion, obviously Tanner McKee was just surgical out there going against the shitty. I mean, the Giants are not good. They're 13-14. They're 3-14 for a reason. So for us to, see Jahan Johnson being a number 1 option in the pass game and for him to actually produce, I think it is huge for this offense, because I think Jalen was definitely watching and he sees, all right, I can trust him. I really feel like the trust factor was just not there when it came to Jahan Dotson, and that's why we saw a lack of production. I mean, the guy damn near doubled his production all season in just 1 game and still didn't even eclipse over 100 yards. So that just goes to show the guy has done virtually nothing besides cardio all season, and for him to be a main target in the game and actually produce bodes huge for this offense and really what Jalen has in terms of options as pass catchers. But as I just mentioned him, and I'll say it again, not only is Tanner McKee a great backup, I mean, I really feel like this is QB number 2. As soon as we get rid of Kenny Pickett or we trade him, whatever the case is, finding 2 guys for their first touchdowns for the entirety of the season, like a rookie like Anaya Smith and a guy like EJ Jenkins, I mean, it goes to show. Not only is Tanner McKee the prototypical backup, I mean, he's tall, he has great anticipation, great accuracy. Kellen Moore definitely schemed up a good game plan, and Tanner McKee executed. That's all you want and expect from your OC, your offensive coordinator, as well as your backup quarterback, handling your business. And it is not that hard to beat a shitty team like the Giants. Because even with 80%, 90% backups, they still couldn't pull this shit out. And if you're a Giants fan, I don't feel sorry for you, because y'all had y'all chance. Y'all had Saquon Barkley. Y'all had y'all quarterback of the future, and y'all squandered it. And now here y'all drafted in the top 5 again. But moving on to the defense. This is a guy that I thought would have a lot more impact, possibly getting a sack in this game. Even though he did have a QB hit with 5 tackles, Ojamo definitely had, his impact was felt, along the line of scrimmage as a defensive tackle number 4 on this roster. But ultimately, what he did and really what showed up was him able, along with Milton Williams and Jordan Davis, opening up lanes for these linebackers to make plays. I mean, a guy like Oren Burks, who is a special teamer, really. A guy that hasn't had very few opportunities. In back-to-back weeks, he's had opportunities to play, and he's shown up. Last week, he had a forced fumble. This week, he had 17 tackles with 2 tackles for losses. I mean, there's nothing that you can really say about a backup having that kind of production. You're happy to see it. It's great to see that, and really a guy that I should have mentioned. And really, I was banging the table for us to draft him, and lo and behold, it's exactly who we got. Axman Jr., Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I should have definitely been like, we need to see him on the field making plays. And despite 1 missed tackle for loss that he had in this game, I don't really have anything bad to say about him. 11 tackles in his first start as an NFL linebacker, I think it's huge. I think it's big for his confidence, and really, if in any event that he has to be out there, I think he's definitely prepared mentally, and he has some game reps to actually show, like, I could do this. The confidence should be there, and it's great to see, because I really feel like every team, especially if you have any aspirations of making a playoff run, going to the Super Bowl, you need a couple crash outs on your team. I think we have one in C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a more controlled, I feel like, savvy crash out. A guy that's just more raw in terms of being a crash out is none other than Cindy Brown. I mean, for him to make a great pass breakup, but ultimately crashing and blowing up not only his own teammate, as well as Malik Neighbors. I mean, obviously the video stopped, but make no mistake about it, not only did Malik Neighbors not catch this, both of these guys got blown up by Cindy Brown. But not only did he see could have probably played the ball a little better, he noticed that he's going to have another opportunity. And then what did he do? He got an interception. And that's all you can expect from your backups when they're being thrusted in these positions to make and have the opportunities to make plays. Obviously, we don't want to be dependent on our backups in the event that we're playing for the Super Bowl or even for the NFC Championship. But if these guys have to be out there, I firmly believe with coaching by Vic Fangio and the DB coaches as well as linebacker coaches, these guys are going to be ready if given the opportunity, because they not only have the game reps, but they're being coached well enough to do these things. These are not by luck or by chance. This is coaching and really execution. At its finest. At its finest. And ultimately, that's all it took to beat the shitty Giants. 20 points. These guys can score 20 with most of our backups in there. Even though Malik Neighbors had a great touchdown on a blown coverage play. Ultimately, 14-3 is who we are, and 3-14 is who the Giants are. Night and day, no surprise here. And ultimately, not only are the Giants one of the many teams that fear the Philadelphia Eagles, even our own divisional rivals. They don't want no parts of us. And if you don't believe me, take a listen to one of their spokesmen in terms of how we felt the game was going and really what the matchups could have been for this wild card weekend.
Y'all want to know why I'm happy? Do y'all really want to know why I'm happy, bro? Because we don't got to play the fucking Eagles no more.
Go ahead, tell us. Go ahead, tell us, bro.
Man. Y'all want to know why y'all...
I wouldn't want to play us if I was y'all too. I really wouldn't. Because how are y'all going to stop Saquon, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, a healthy Jalen Hurts, and a healthy Dallas Goedert with the number one total defense and the number 2 pass defense in all of football? All the elements and the ingredients I just mentioned are recipes for a Super Bowl victory and or appearance. I really feel like, and I'm not getting outside of myself or ahead of myself. When you look at this playoff bracket and this push, what's about to happen, we about to make Swiss cheese out of the fucking Green Bay Packers on Sunday at 4:30 because no Jair Alexander, no Christian Watson. That's just not enough to beat us. But ultimately, the Detroit Lions are our biggest hurdle to get over. And really and truly, I don't think they have enough. I firmly believe Aaron Glenn, as good as he is as a defensive coordinator, not only is he not better than Vic Fangio, I know he wouldn't play one-on-one against A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley at quarterback and running back. I firmly believe that wouldn't happen. And ultimately, they don't have enough. I don't think anybody has enough. And really and truly, who's going to stop us besides us? We've been playing great football, aside from a uncharacteristic loss with our backup in there against the Commanders on a 10-game win streak up right before that. And we got right back on the train. 2 wins to go into the postseason with backups. Doesn't matter. The coaching is there, and really that is the biggest difference aside from a guy like Saquon Barkley and like Zach Bond and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Those are great all-season acquisitions, make no mistake about it. But coaching has been the biggest turnaround in terms of this team compared to last season going into the playoffs and this season going to the playoffs. If y'all not ready for this playoff run, I'm telling you right now, buckle up, because not only is it going to be very entertaining, we about to have a lot of fun on this channel. We're about to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk a lot of shit. You heard Jordan Mailata mention in my last video. We're going to talk our shit down because not only are we confident, we know exactly who we are. We're winners, especially when we're tooled up and everybody's healthy. And that's how we're looking going into this first wildcard weekend matchup. The Green Bay Packers are a decent team, but playing against teams that have not only playoff caliber above 500, they don't look like the same team. A banged up Jordan Love, no Jair Alexander, no Christian Watson. Let's be for real, man. This is not going to be fun for them. It's going to be fun for us. I firmly believe halfway through the third quarter, we're going to be kicked up. We're going to be looking for the next matchup to watch and really, what's for dinner? I'll tell you what is for dinner. On Sunday at 4:30, it's going to be a lot of cheese, and we're going to be grading the shit out of the Green Bay Packers. By third quarter, hey, look for some plans to, make some plans, see your girls, spend time with your loved ones, whatever you need to do. With that being said, this is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your way more hostile than humble host, Cassius Cliff, and it's only going up from here. We out to the next one. Peace.